Good morning and welcome to KidNuz, generously sponsored today by the Gartland family of Maple Grove, Minnesota, to celebrate two big birthdays. Jackson turned 8 on January 30th and Avery turns 11 on February 13th. Mom, Dad, and Puppy Ruby wish you both the best birthdays ever and say they couldn't be more proud. I'm Tori. Today is Monday, February 6, 2023. And we begin with a high-flying problem, a problem no more. Over the weekend, President Biden ordered the Air Force to get rid of a gigantic, suspicious balloon that had been floating across the U.S. for several days. American intelligence believed it was a spy satellite from China, while China said it was nothing more than a weather balloon that had drifted off course. Soon we'll know for sure. On Saturday, once the device was safely off the coast of South Carolina, the Air Force moved in and basically popped it. What was as large as 3 school buses deflated in a puff of white smoke while its solar panels and surveillance equipment plunged into the Atlantic. Navy divers are now searching for and recovering the debris so analysts can determine exactly what it was being used for. That Arctic blast has come and gone in the northeastern part of the U.S., but not before carving out some historic new lows. Even notoriously cold Mount Washington in New Hampshire outdid itself this time. Temperatures at the summit dropped to 46 degrees below zero, with a nationwide record-setting wind chill of minus 108. That's even colder than Mars, which NASA says reached a relatively balmy high of 16 degrees, with a low of minus 105 last week. Other U.S. cities setting records: Worcester, Massachusetts with 13 below, Boston minus 10, and Providence, Rhode Island, and Hartford, Connecticut both hit minus 9. The road to the White House no longer begins in Iowa. Over the weekend, Democrats approved a plan that will give first-in-the-nation bragging rights to South Carolina. Nevada and New Hampshire will go next, followed by Georgia and then Michigan. The move is designed to give more diverse states a greater role in the selection of the Democratic nominee. Will President Biden be that person? Tomorrow night on Capitol Hill, he delivers his second annual State of the Union address, which is basically a president's yearly report card to the nation, and is expected to announce his decision on running for another term soon after. In today's KidNuz notes, sorry, King Charles, the Aussies have other plans for the face of their $5 notes. Instead of replacing Queen Elizabeth's picture with him, the former colony of Great Britain will go with a new design that honors first Australians. King Charles will have to settle for having his face on coins, which are expected to roll out in the next few months. A different king, King James, is now on the brink of history. After an epic game on Saturday night, LeBron is just 36 points away from surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. He's expected to set the record at home in LA tomorrow against the Thunder or Thursday versus the Bucks. The games will be telecast nationally, and ticket prices are skyrocketing. Just 2 weeks after announcing Spike, a Chihuahua from Ohio, as the world's oldest dog living, Guinness World Records found an even older pooch in Portugal. Bobby was born May 11, 1992, which means he is 30 years, 271 days old as of today, and that makes him not just the oldest living dog, but also the oldest dog ever. The new record holder is a purebred Rafeiro do Alentejo. That's it for KidNuz. Now our KidNuz quiz, generously sponsored today by the Rao family of Burlingame, California, to say happy 10th birthday to Keshavin. Amma, Appa, and your little brother Madhavin are so proud of the kind, curious, and intelligent kid that you are and wish you an amazing year ahead. Now, today's quiz. What did the U.S. military pop off the South Carolina coast? A suspicious balloon belonging to China. How low was the record-setting wind chill set over the weekend on Mount Washington in New Hampshire? Minus 108 degrees Fahrenheit. How many more points does LeBron James need to become the NBA's all-time leading scorer? 36. According to Guinness, how old is the oldest dog ever? Bobby of Portugal is 30 years, 271 days. In today's Kid News Kicker, the food just kept coming. Delivery drivers dropped order after order on the doorstep of the Stonehouse family in Chesterfield Township, Michigan last week. $1,000 worth of chicken pitas, sandwiches, cheese fries, shrimp, salads, and ice cream. So many different things from so many different places that their bank sent them a fraud alert declining $400 worth of pizza. Dad Keith couldn't make heads or tails of it until he realized he'd let his 6-year-old son play on his phone unsupervised. A mistake that gave young Mason enough time to go to town on the Grubhub app. He may have learned his lesson, though. As the youngster told CBS News, he used to have $125 in his piggy bank. After ponying up to help pay the food bill, he now has 1 penny. Thank you to our sponsors, the Gartland family of Maple Grove, Minnesota, who underwrote today's episode. Shout-outs again to Jackson and Avery, who listen every morning on their ride to school. And a big hello to their friends and teachers at Holy Name of Jesus School in Wayzata, Minnesota, especially Jackson's 2nd grade teacher, Ms. Johnson, and Avery's 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Neuheisen. Go Sparks! And appreciation to the Rao family of Burlingame, California, who supported today's quiz. Happy birthday to Keshavin, who loves soccer, public speaking, and our Kid News quiz. And a shout out to his teacher, Ms. Kuhn, and all his friends at the Carey School. And kudos to our other Kid News classrooms, starting with Mrs. Gilbert at Moosop Elementary in Moosop, Connecticut. To Illinois for Mrs. Duggar and her Warriors at Ewing Grade School in Ewing. And Mrs. Christensen and her Bucks at Deer Park School in Ottawa. Mrs. Drew and her crew at Bourne Intermediate in Bourne, Massachusetts. And Mrs. Hines and her Comets at North Polk Central in Alaman, Iowa. Thanks for listening. Please check out our newest Critical Thinking Noodler up on our website. And we'll see you back here for more Kid News tomorrow morning.